Shining bright, sunshine in the sky. Megan and Tammy here to testify, spreading love, laughter and good vibes too. The Fat Girl Chronicles, we're breaking through. No more.
Hey guys, it's Tammy
and Megan,
and together we are
the Fat Girl Flippers.
The Fat Girl Slappers.
The Fat Girl Slappers.
Fat Girl Flippers. Welcome to another episode
of Fat Girl Chronicles.
I forgot to say it was Fat Girl Chronicles. Welcome to our podcast
and Happy New Year. We're super excited. We took a 2-week break for the holidays.
This is our first podcast after the new year.
Yeah, welcome to 2025.
I know some people who are sitting patiently waiting for this to come out.
I bet. Welcome. If you are on YouTube or watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that little bell so it'll remind you when we do have new videos uploaded. We try for every Friday. And then also if you wanted to just listen to us through audio, that's fine too. We are on tons of podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcast, Podbean, all that stuff.
I know a lot of people like to house clean while they listen to us, which is great.
Yes, and actually we are super close to being able to put a couple of ads.
Oh, ads.
Yeah, we're less than 200.
Can we pick the ads?
I don't know how that process works. I'll have to ask Richard, but he said the other day, I think it was like 180 downloads for the audio.
Oh, awesome.
That we'll be able to do that. So that's
cool.
Pretty cool.
Because we make money off the ads, right?
Yeah. So it'd be like we'd be monetized. I mean, we're probably talking dollars.
We're going to get rich and we're going to go on vacation and we're going to leave you all behind.
We'll be spending our $10 in one place.
At Walmart. They're going to send us a $5 Walmart gift card. But you know what? We'd be happy.
We would be.
We love Walmart.
Yeah.
Oh, we shouldn't be plugging Walmart.
Oh.
Walmart, unless you want to give us,
Yeah, a sponsor. So that's pretty exciting news. Feel free to download even if you're watching the YouTube and just want to give us a quick download on your podcast streaming service. Mm-hmm. We'd greatly appreciate it. The number's 1,000, so we're like 800 something. So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool because we're for two, I was going to say little girls. At one time we were two little girls from Nova Scotia.
That's true.
And now we are two larger women from Nova Scotia.
Yes.
But here we are.
Yeah.
And we're nobody important and nobody special. So it just proves if you want to do something, you got to go for it.
Got to go for it and do stuff that you love, right?
And thanks for encouraging me to do this because I wouldn't have done this on my own.
Yeah.
So.
It's been a fun ride.
I hate to say this, but I'm loving the podcast more than
the lives.
The lives, yeah. Although I like the lives, I wish during the lives that I had more opportunity to interact with the people in the comments and stuff.
I know.
That's what I hate is that we're so stuck for time. Yeah. So the lives would be a lot more interesting if we could just. We'll have to do a party or something again where we just chat and.
Yeah, I really feel like.
Or bring on a guest.
Come in the spring though, like we should do. We've tried a couple of times to do like not meet and greets, but like just meetups or whatever, like with people, because there's a lot of people that know each other, like when they're watching lives that haven't ever met before.
That's right.
So it'd be nice to do like that.
I've got a great outdoor spot here too. We could do in the summertime. We could do it outside. It would be on a nice day.
Yeah. I definitely think we should do that.
Yeah.
My ultimate goal would be to do some sort of like fat girl retreat like a fat girl night out. Like fat girls night out. I know. That would be so much fun.
Woo! What? Oh, that's my shower.
Oh, Jesus. Lord lifted.
It needed one more lick on the licky stick. You know those things that you don't really lick them, but you get them wet and you stick them?
Yeah.
Well, I have one of those and it holds my shower head. You've seen it. Anyways, when I was having a shower today, I pulled it off by mistake. Oh. And then when I went to put it back on, I don't think I put enough water on it. So That's what happened. The licky sticky went.
Well, now that we've pooped ourselves. Before we get started, did you want to talk about how your week has been?
No.
No.
Not particularly. Yeah. Update on the weight loss surgery. I have no idea how much weight I've lost or gained or whatever, because can't find my scale.
But you're feeling more recovered.
I feel more recovered, although I am now starting to move into the different stages of eating more regular food, like more normal foods. This is where I'm really noticing that I can only eat like maybe 3 to 5 tablespoons of food.
Right.
Before, when it was liquid or even soft, it was easier. I was gonna say it was easier to eat more, but it wasn't. Now I have pain, like a little when I eat.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost like you can kind of feel it, and it takes a little while for it to kind of adjust itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
So feeling better about that.
But yeah, I feel good. Other than that, I feel healthy. I feel
good. That's good. And yeah, you did say like earlier that generally, you've been feeling. Well, we were both kind of talking about winter and how winter can kind of suck sometimes. Yeah. Like I know for me, my mental health has taken a bit of a dive just because it's purely because it's winter, really.
I just said this to Megan too. That I had a crying day yesterday, and I haven't had that for a while. So.
Yeah, so winter can be hard. But what we wanted to kind of.
I feel like I'm gonna sneeze.
So, I should talk about my week before we get started. So, we were talking about mental health, but we decided that this podcast, we'd want it to be a little bit more lighter and flouncy, so that's what it's going to be. But before we get started on that topic, I'll tell you about my week. So this is my first week back at work.
To your real work.
To real work.
Yeah.
And, you know what? I'm so blessed to be where I am because, they give you so much vacation days and sick time and everything, so I was able to take, in overtime this afternoon off, and then
it was great over Christmas to see you and spend some time with you and stuff like that. That was really nice.
Yeah, and it was nice to be Monday, same thing. I went in the morning and then I went home in the afternoon, and so it was a slow transition. I had 2 days of training yesterday, so that was training. But not.
That's never fun.
Yeah, it wasn't exhilarating or anything, but yeah. So it's been, I guess, a good first week back. Tomorrow's Friday. Saturday we're doing. I'm going to a drag brunch.
Oh,
in Halifax. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. So that's gonna be really cool. So I think that's gonna be fun. Oh, and we saw Sonic. So Richard and I did go see Sonic. And that was so good.
Here's me thinking you saw Sonic somewhere out on the driving around. You and Richard saw Sonic. I'm just like, okay. And then it dawns on me, they went to the movie.
The movie. Yeah, so I saw, a couple of days before, I saw Moana, and that was really good.
And she looked awesome in her leather pleather pants and outfit that she had on that she got dressed here.
Yes.
And I got to see her before she went. She looked so cute.
It's so funny because I'm my style is so it can be so comfy. So I had the pleather pants on. It had a jumper,
like a bodysuit kind of thing,
like a bodysuit jumper type of thing, and then I had a very oversized
her and I could have got in this sweater, and I was so angry with her.
She's like, why are you wearing that?
Take that sweater off because you look so cute without it. And she's like, but I'm comfy in it.
I was like, no, I like it. So that was, and the movie was hilarious. It was so good. Kaya would love it.
She's probably already seen it.
Well, and she just went to go see Moana?
I think Moana they just went to go see.
I think
Didn't she tell us that? Yeah.
Yeah. So that was really good. Moana was really good, but Sonic was. Jim Carrey is such a good actor. I don't know about him personally or what he's like or whatever, but
he is a good actor. I don't know anything about him personally, but.
He was a really good actor, and it was funny because in the movie, he had to play two characters. So he played himself as the villain, but then the villain's grandfather.
Kind of like Eddie Murphy does when he plays, what is it?
Is Norbit one of them?
No.
And Tyler Perry does the same thing, right?
Is it Tyler Perry I'm thinking of, or
Tyler
Eddie
Perry?
Murphy?
I think they both have done it.
The large.
Girl? That's Tyler Perry.
The older lady.
Madonna or Medea or whatever.
Medea.
That's Tyler
Perry. But I'm thinking of the other one. Mrs. Doubtfire was
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
So through the years there's been a history of a lot of men.
Of that, yeah.
Who did Eddie Murphy did that too, but I can't remember who he played.
I can't either.
Huh.
But yeah, so it was funny because as his grandfather, I could hear Jim Carrey like channeling the Grinch. You know how he did the Grinch?
Yes.
Even the way he stood, kind of like almost
tilted back
a little bit, and the way he used his voice as the grandfather, it was very like I could hear the Grinch.
Oh, because I know how he stands as the Grinch, and he stands like this.
Yes,
with his arms behind his back.
That's what he was doing.
And he often, when he was the Grinch, would look up at the sky or like look around. Yeah,
it was so. And there was a funny dance scene. Whoops. Oh, it was so good. It was such a funny movie. And again, it's like, it's a kids movie, but I don't think there was. Oh, there might have been.
Who are we kidding? You've seen every kids movie since the beginning of time.
Exactly, and the other. But
Why
the other
are you
thing
going to
is,
stop now?
Exactly. But the other thing is, if you think about it, like Richard and I grew up on Sonic.
Yeah.
Like that was
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Exactly, it was a video game that Richard more so than me.
Yeah, it was big. Like if you were an 80s and 90s kid, that's the thing.
So why wouldn't adults?
It's so weird that so many of the things that were in then are coming back again. Like either like what do they call it? Like not an episode, a sequel. That's the word I was trying.
Yeah.
So they're making sequels of everything from the good old days.
Now, the Paddington Bear?
Nah, that was more. I was
what generation?
Paddington Bear.
Because they're coming up with a movie for him.
Was there? Paddington Bear was a real thing, right?
What do you mean a real thing?
Did you not know that a soldier?
No! Tell me the story!
Oh, yeah. A soldier in World War II, I believe. It could have been World War I. I don't remember. And anybody in the comments, correct me if I'm wrong, but Paddington Bear, the original bear, was a real bear, and he was adopted by a soldier as a cub.
What?
Yeah. In the war.
Really?
Yeah.
That I didn't know.
Yeah. Let me tell you the story because I want to make sure I get it right.
So they're coming out with a new movie for Paddington Bear, and it also looks really cute and funny. But I've heard the name before, but I didn't grow up on it or anything. I feel like they used to have a TV show or something about it.
Yes, definitely there was. Okay.
She's searching Google.
Yes. Okay, this is it. Paddington Bear is a British children's character created by Michael Bond. The character was inspired by Bond's experiences during World War II, including the sight of Jewish refugee children and evacuees. Bond bought a teddy bear in 1956 as a Christmas gift for his wife Brenda. He noticed the bear was alone on a shelf in a London shop. Bond was inspired by the sight of the Jewish refugee children. Bond named the bear Paddington after the Paddington train station in England. Paddington's story begins in the jungle of Peru, where his home is destroyed by fire, and Paddington ends up at the train station in London looking for a home. The Brown family of 32 Windsor Garden adopts Paddington into their family. I knew there was a story about a real bear showing up, yeah. Paddington's story is about helping someone from a faraway land, showing compassion and acting upon it. Paddington Bear is a British icon and a friend to Queen Elizabeth II.
Huh.
So there. That's Paddington Bear.
Isn't that interesting?
So, no, I did not grow up with Paddington Bear.
Okay.
I believe it was I think it was a generation or two before me that would have But I seem to remember my sister had the books. Or some
yes,
books
because
about
there
them.
was books.
So maybe it was after me. You know what I mean? Like I might have been a little bit too old for it.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they had that one coming out. They have, Minecraft. Have you heard people talk
Oh
about
my
Minecraft?
God, yes.
Yeah, they have a Minecraft one coming out.
We have a little Minecraft fan, Jasper, Amanda's grandson.
Oh, so
he's a
really
fanatic.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they've got. Oh, and
I'll have to ask him
going
if
live
he's
action.
going to the what? Snow White is
Snow
going
White.
live action.
Yeah, it's gonna be a live action film, just like they're remaking it.
Really?
And it looks really good.
Cool. We
Yeah.
should make a plan to go to one of these.
Yeah, I love the theater. I don't go very often.
No, we haven't been to a movie in a long time.
And it's funny when I go in spurts. Like I went, I can't remember when I went with Emma. Was it like New Year's Eve or? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Or the day. It was the day before
New Year's Eve because I remember you writing on your post that this is
the
the last movie of 2024.
Yeah.
What did we go see? Because it was really good. Whatever we went and saw, something we wanted to see.
When did we go see something?
It was quite a while ago. Remember we sat down in the front, but what was it? It was the Jane the storybook. Jane, not. It's the story of those 5 sisters.
Joe.
Yeah. But I can't remember what the name of it is. It's those 5 sisters.
Yes, you used to read about them, right?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Joe is one of them.
Now we're spending our whole.
Joe, Mary. Is Mary another one?
No.
Joe. Peg.
Yeah. Or Meg.
What?
Meg.
What?
Meg. One's called Meg.
What is? I have no idea.
We're drawing a blank. It was a good movie though.
It was a good movie, and I think
it was even better for me because I had read the stories, and it was very true to the stories.
But I think we also saw one where she was like a CEO or something. Way back, years ago.
You and I?
Yeah, I don't think you were in a wheelchair yet. I don't even think that was a thing. We're talking, you might have even been in your first place.
Back when my legs worked.
Way back. I feel like Melissa McCarthy or something was in it.
Oh, yes.
It was something to do with she was an assistant or... Mm-hmm. I can't remember now, but I do remember... We'll have to look up what...
And then we wanted to see that movie called Empire Waste, and it obviously didn't come to our theater, which that's another thing that really gets on my nerves. They play all these foreign films and all these other kind of things, and then regular stuff doesn't get shown.
I know. Well, and that one was about being plus size and fashion
and her not knowing her own talent and dressing everybody. The whole theme of the thing was this teenage girl was really good at sewing, and she would sew everybody else beautiful clothes, plus size clothes for her friends, but never ever made anything for herself.
Yeah. So that would have been good to see. Yeah. Okay, well.
So the reason why we're here today was not to tell you about our movie forays into the movies or back to Paddington Bear's history in the world. We've gone back to World War II.
Oh my gosh. We should do, you know what? One of these podcasts we should do, and I'm going to leave you in charge of this. Because
I want to do trivia.
Trivia would be fun, but I was thinking we could do one true crime one. Because you are right into that.
Yeah.
Because we'll be driving sometimes, and Tanya will be like, have you heard about this missing person, or that missing person, or this murdered person, or that? So we should do that one podcast. You should pick us a story and then tell us.
Something that's someone who's really stuck with me, because I was only young when it happened, was Troy Cook.
Oh.
I remember that it was yesterday. I was working at Zeller's, and I remember going into work in the morning, and one of the girls that he hung out with had said he was missing. And then it was just a big frenzy, and then, all these years later, it's never, ever been solved. And I just feel for his father.
That's gotta be I think about, Oliver, for those who don't know, it's my dog. I'd rather, if Oliver got out, be hit by a car that I physically saw than for him to just disappear.
Yeah.
So I can't even imagine as a parent, an adult or with a human child.
And I mean, he was a teenager.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, I think he was 16 or 17.
Like, I couldn't imagine.
Maybe
But we
18.
should do that. You should, I'd leave that up to you because, like,
I should dig up a lot of the missing persons cases here. Kimberly McPherson, I think, is another one.
Is she the one by the McDonald's in Halifax?
Yeah,
yes.
the cute little one with braces.
Well, you told me about that one.
Yeah. Her father or her grandfather was a police chief for Parsborough.
You should comment if that's something you guys would be interested in, like every once in a while us doing some sort of like
true crime
thing, because that would be, those are the podcasts that if I'm listening to one, usually I listen to.
It's so funny that you said this right now because you know Sammy and Tuck in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Well, I watch them all the time. Well, Tuck does like trash picking and all kinds of stuff, and they do a podcast or whatever. The other day, there was a girl that had gone missing or had been found. And they couldn't identify her, and she had tattoos, and they were showing the tattoos. And it must have really touched him because he did a true crime thing, like podcast, and he's never done anything like that before. And that was one of the things he asked after it was over was, would you guys like me to do more of these?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it really touched him because it was someone from the immediate area, like found in his immediate area.
Yeah, we could do something like, I mean, it obviously wouldn't be as extensive as some of the other true crime ones where they actually get in the nitty gritty, but...
Well, and to be honest with you, living where we live, there have been a lot of...
Missing,
and...
There was that guy that disappeared, the older gentleman. Remember, he had a red car, I think.
They found him, though.
Oh, they found him?
A hunter found him, yes. Oh. Not very far from the car.
Really?
Yeah. Oh. In Greenfield, yeah.
See, that's why Tammy should be doing this, because I'm like, I hear about things. I just
pay attention because...
Well, it's been happening a lot.
Yes, it seems to be... Crime itself seems to be on the increase here, and we've had, like, over the last week, we've had 2 stabbings, we've had 2 shootings.
Yeah.
Or 3 shootings, and all resulted in death. So that's 5 murders in less than a week.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's
a lot, and it's happening a lot. And the other thing that's happening a lot around here is people are getting busted with drugs and weapons, and I mean big amounts of money, drugs, and huge amounts of weapons, and that's scary. That's really scary.
And you know, people when they think of Nova Scotia, like often think. Well, I had a conversation with someone the other day. Oh, at training. They were shocked to learn how much goes on in Truro.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and they're like, what? Because they're from the city, right? And it's
it's not called the hub for no reason.
Yeah, like, you know, it's Canada's worst mass murder happened here in Portapique, which is like a crazy small
in the
area
in the county we grew up in.
Yeah.
With people we knew.
So it's like wild to think about.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should do that. Mm-hmm. We should do that.
Yeah, they're just off the top of my head, I can think of 4 or 5 just not even digging, that are still missing.
We should do that.
Yeah, and I mean, not that we have a great big reach of local people who might, you know, be able to help or know something or whatever, but I think it's really important that people don't forget about these things and that they keep getting put out there. Because eventually someone will, on their, whether it's a deathbed confession or, you know, something.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's usually somebody knows something. They may not even realize they know it. I mean, think of the things, I think of us that day we took the donuts to the police officers the day after the shootings. And then we drove through those roads all the way through where the same route basically that the shooter had taken, and but we didn't know it at the time.
No.
I know those back roads, so we went through there, but at the time we didn't know that that's where he had gone, and it's just eerie. And then to come home, I was living in town, and to come home and realize that they had caught him on camera going down the street right beside my house, like,
I know.
It's just...
It's wild.
The whole thing still seems so surreal to me, and it's been how many years now? I don't even...
In April it'll be 4? No, 2021 is when it happened, right? Yeah, 4.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay, well, happier news.
And my sympathy still goes out to the families of anybody lost in that, because that's a whole other layer of...
That could be like a series of it has been for many podcasts. Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get on to something lighter.
We're going to make this podcast light.
It's funny when Megan and I get talking where things go. I think
it's kind of true though, eh?
Yeah, and the other thing I love is when we used to go do deliveries, or even when we were on little trips and stuff, if we could have filmed our car chats, remember when we were first starting Fat Girl Flippers and all the planning and things we used to do in the car? Oh, do you remember? I used to have a book and I'd sit and write down ideas, and you'd be driving and
tons of planning and
figuring things out, and throwing ideas against the wall. It's just, it amazes me because I don't know, when we put our heads together, we can make things happen.
Wild to think about the progression, eh? Yeah. Like starting with going to Staples and buying little paper tags and
and how we
gun, our
ticket gun, and how we honed it down to a science, and now we can get in and get out in 2 hours.
Mannequins,
having
mannequins.
Oh my God, yes. I can remember when I was living on Pleasant Street and I had mannequins in my living room, which was the very front of the building, and I was dressing them, and people thought they were actual people. They looked like people in my window.
Yeah, because we had full on. Yeah. We had some that were not plus size, but then we found a couple that were, and...
So then we were, at that point, we were photographing every piece of clothing, and But we found our niche and what works, and now we can get in and out, and I say less than 3 hours if we put our mind to it.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
We get her done.
Yeah.
And bag her up and send her off with Megan.
Yes. Okay.
All right. Now.
Okay, so what we're going to talk about is, as everyone knows, I do love to read. Tammy also loves to read. We read different things. But so in the last year, 2024, I read about 120 books. Everything, some of them, what they call a novella. So a really short, some of them would be shorter. Some of them more 400, 500, 600 pages, just depended on the book. Books that included the Bridgerton series and things like that. And so before we start, what kind of books do you like to read?
I honestly, I like things like the Bridgerton era.
Yes.
I'm not into so much of the love stories or the romance of that, and I don't like fantasy. I'd say I'm more into the drama, the actual telling of details of what happened during those times.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Someone said today, interviewing a vampire, they were talking about that one. That seemed kind of interesting, but it's apparently
Interviews
it's a show.
with a vampire.
Interviewing
with a vampire.
Yeah, apparently it's a show too.
It's my objective in 2025. This is one of the things I put on my list, is to watch the Bridgerton series, because I haven't watched it.
So good.
And the other thing is, I want to read my Little House on the Prairie book series from cover to cover.
I love it.
Every book in the series again for the 95th time.
I love it though. So if you watch the Bridgerton series, so my hall pass has been updated, but my previous hall pass.
What the hell's a hall pass?
If I ever meet them, I can sleep with them.
What?
You've never heard of that? No. It's not actually real.
Oh my God. I'm like, what the hell? We go from Little House on the Prairie to, if I meet them, I can sleep with them? Good God. I'm leaving. This used to be PG. Now we've gone to, I see these little chilies here. Here we are. We're getting into, each book contains some 2 little chilies. Okay.
So you've never heard of Hall Pass?
No.
So it's the theory behind it is that a couple says, this is your hall pass.
So if my crush was Willie Nelson, then if I had a partner, my partner would say, if you ever met Willie, no, not that I want to sleep with Willie Nelson, but That might be interesting.
You never know.
You never know. Willie's probably got, some get up and go still in him.
So my hall pass used to be Colin from Bridgerton. So when you watch the series,
I'll have to watch it. I'll start watching it tonight.
And then it changed to Chris Evans because I do like Chris Evans.
Who in the world is Chris Evans?
He was just in a movie that I saw. I can't remember what else he's in the Marvel universe too. I feel like is he Captain America? Yeah, but he's cutie. So I think I might choose him as my hall pass. I don't know. It takes a lot of thought and effort to figure out who my hall pass is.
I see.
Yeah. So anyway, we're gonna go over my top 15 books. I'm gonna try not to give any spoilers in case people want to actually read them. All of these books, the main girl character is plus size, curvy. Sometimes they describe her as curvy, but they are plus size. Some of the characters are even like shown as being like size 22, 24. Some of them don't give a size. They give more of a detailed description, which indicates that a lot of people say curvy, they're curves, thick thighs, that sort of thing. So I have found that these books have really helped with like representation. I had someone ask me today, they said, well, why would you read a book? Like, why would that matter if they were plus size or not? And for me, it's like anything else. What if you read a beautiful romance book about someone who's in a wheelchair? Mm-hmm. Right? It's being able to read that book and be like,
which is
wow.
what I was thinking while you were talking was, I'm sure there's probably books out there.
Yeah.
But I've never thought about that. I've never read a book where the character or even a character in the book was in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And there should be books like that because love and sex and
life
happens and
sex happens when you're in a wheelchair.
Sex happens when you're in a wheelchair.
Damn.
Right? Because a lot of people that fall outside the norm.
I'm old.
Well, a lot of people
Not
that fall
that
outside
old.
the norm, like people with disabilities, even people who are plus size or fat or however you want to identify.
Still looking for my hall pass.
Still looking for your hall pass. Sometimes being kind of out of the norm almost makes you become like asexual, like appear as asexual, or to be desexualized.
Can I interject here?
Yeah.
I want to say to the listeners out here, what I've noticed since Megan started reading these stories is that Megan has a different outlook on life. I see Megan is more, I don't know about Megan's sexuality at home, but she seems to be more sexual now.
Yes.
And I don't mean that she's not half naked and laying across the bed, like some kind of vixen or anything like that. But I just feel like you're more open about talking about it. You bring it up, whereas before you never would have done that.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, and it's kind of cool, but in a way, I gotta say, sometimes it takes me by surprise because I am not used to you saying things like that. So sometimes I'll be like, oh, did she just say that? Am I supposed to respond? Am I supposed to clap? Am I supposed to what?
Well, when we're going, what was it, Newfoundland, I sent a picture of the bullet or whatever that I got, right?
Oh my God, yeah. I was the one who told her get some sex toys. So then she sends me a picture of all this snacks and stuff, and in the middle of it is the bullet, the bullet. Anyway, that was kind of funny.
Yeah, I think it's important, that representation.
100%.
Normalizing sex.
100%, because I mean, you're young. Yeah. I mean, you're in the prime of your life. And I think that probably has something to do with it too, because women in their 30s
that's true.
That tend to find their sexuality in their either 30s or early 40s.
Yeah, so that makes sense too. But
I can remember being that way too. Yeah.
So we'll go over, let's get to the list. I'll give a general overview, see if I can remember the stories.
All right.
First one is
Pitches Be Crazy.
Okay, so I love a good sports romance.
Oh, God.
And I actually really like baseball. I love hockey ones. I'm reading a hockey one right now, but, and football is really good too. But baseball, actually, I think 2 of the books on that list are baseball. So basically, this is what they call a reverse age gap romance.
Oh, so
So she's older.
She's older. I like that.
Yeah, so she's older. He's absolutely obsessed with her. And it starts off as a fake relationship. A lot of the romance books have these fake relationships. Yeah. It's like a thing.
Guy who comes to fix your sink and you're a widow or you've left town and moved to a different country.
He for this one it was like her ex was around or whatever, so she had to like she wanted to, him to pretend that they were dating or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So that's really good. I really enjoyed that book. I thought that book had a lot of banter between the 2 characters, and it was well written, and like you could visualize it and you laughed at the jokes.
Is there always the happy ending though? That I find that's what annoys me in romance books. Is there's always that neat little tied up in a bow.
I like the happily ever afters, but there's one book that's going viral right now, and it's called The Last Letter. You'd probably like that one. It doesn't have a happy ever after, but it's a love story. Like people on TikTok are like crying after it. Like it's a very emotional book. So they don't always have happy ever afters. I just seek them out. Yeah.
Okay.
What's the next one?
Breathe for Me, which in brackets is a series.
Okay, yeah. So the Breathe for Me series is a cowboy series.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so this cowboy series, she is trying to save up, and I can tell you this because this is all in the description. She's trying to have money for her mom because her mom has cancer and they're in the States, so obviously medical bills and stuff. Mm-hmm. And so what she does is she buys land and they do pipelines. So she goes to this ranch and she wants to try to get him to sell his land so they could do a pipeline. This is what they call an enemies to lovers trope, which is like they're like, I hate you. And then, yeah, afterwards you see what happens.
And that book is written by Brittany Ann, which I think might be a pseudonym. Pseudo? Is that what pseudonym name?
Could be. She writes a lot in plus size.
Yeah, because it says Langston Brothers Duet at the top.
Yes. So I haven't read it is a series. The first one, Breathe for Me. The first one, she's plus size, and then his brother is the second book, and that girl's not plus size, so I didn't read it. But it was very well written.
The next one is Deadly Deceit. That's also a series.
Yes. So I only read this first one, and this one is really cool because normally, unfortunately, in a lot of romance, like the guy's kind of the badass. Mm-hmm. So this one is about both of them are very well-known hitmen.
Oh.
Yeah. So they end up like accidentally living across the street from each other, or across the apartment building or whatever together. And yeah, they find out that each of them are hitmen and they're like their rivals. Mm-hmm. And then, so like again, kind of like an enemies to lover.
And the author of that one is Settle Meyer.
Yeah, she's good.
Okay. The next book is Rein Me In.
Yes, so this one, again, that is also a series, and
it's the Cowboys of Nighthawk series.
Yeah, so, and Kayla Gross, yeah. Kayla Gross, she almost exclusively writes in plus size. That series, I read both books. Both girls are plus size, and basically, there's a lot of, it's a cowboy book, there's a lot of trauma. It's considered like a dark book, so it might be a little bit more sexual, a little bit more maybe I don't want to say BDSM because there's not like BDSM in it, but it's maybe the sex might be a little rougher,
raunchier.
A little raunchier. so basically he's really struggling with this ranch, and she kind of shows up, and they have a thing, and they both kind of really grow. It's really cute. I like that one.
Where the Pieces Fall.
So this
Lost Heart series, book 1.
Yeah, so I only read the first book. This actually is probably one of my most favorite books. This is about a baseball player who has autism.
Oh, wow. So
it starts where basically he's in this self-help group, and he says, this is my name. It's like a autism support group, and he's going to lose his wife. And so then the book goes back in time and shows their whole relationship, and up to when they kind of basically fell apart. Mm-hmm. And then he tries to repair that.
Wow.
But the way they describe it was really well done.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked it. Yeah. So he has autism, and she really just loves him for him. And he makes it like into the big times because he's a baseball player. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. The next one is Camera Shy by Kay Cove.
So this is one of the first ones that I've read. Camera Shy is it starts with her boyfriend taking her out. She's thinking she's gonna get engaged. She's so excited, and he dumps her.
Oh.
And she storms out, and she's so pissed off. And she and her then now ex-boyfriend run this big sort of like marketing company. Mm-hmm. So she's like, I can work remotely. So one of her clients is like, hey, can you look after my house while I'm gone he just teaches scubaing or whatever. So he's gone for a while. So she goes into this house, and she gets naked, and she's in the hot tub, and her cute neighbor comes along.
Oh.
And she's like, I think I got dumped because I'm not good at sex. Will you teach me? He teaches her lots of things.
All right. X by that one. Oh, this is the one that okay.
What was it, Tammy?
This is called The Cock Down the Block. And in brackets, Megan she is a girl next door with a pet rooster. Laugh.
So this series here is by Amy Award, is it?
Amy Award.
Yeah. So she is, she also pretty much exclusively writes in plus size, and she actually does a lot of fantasy. So this is...
So if you're interested in having a rooster in your sex life...
Yeah, she does like a lot of like vampires and werewolves, so that kind of stuff.
Fantasy stuff.
Yeah, fantasy stuff. So
or sci-fi maybe.
Sci-fi, yep. So this particular series is called the Kingsman series. It's like a whole group of brothers, and they're all big famous hockey players. This particular book, she is literally the girl next door with a pet rooster.
Is her name Tammy?
She's kind of got like a body like yours, though. That's what I feel like. She's got like
maybe
a little bit more cinched in, but she flares out like you do. She's got like the hourglass shape. So he has always been in love with her, and that is also a fake dating relationship. This is the first book that I read that was plus size romance.
Wow.
This is what started it all for me.
I can see why. It was the title.
I know. So it's a whole series. I've read the series. It's really well done. Every single female is plus size, and she's absolutely worshipped and loved in every single one. And her mom, this particular character, her mom is famous plus size porn star.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she's really body positive and stuff.
The next one is Any Means Necessary by Lila Heron.
I can't remember what that one was.
Let me see if you have any notes up here.
I don't think I do.
Any Means... No.
No, It's a mafia one. I think. No, it's one where he's a boss and she's not.
It looks like gives me 50 Shades of Grey vibes.
Yeah, he was a boss and she was some sort of secretary or something. That's another one, like a workplace one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so Nero is the next one. This is also a series.
This is by S.J. Tilley.
Yes, S.J. Tilley. So she also writes a lot in plus size, not exclusive, but a lot. Her writing is fantastic. She's really well written. This series is about mafia men. I love reading about mafia. And these are, if you're interested in dark romance, this would be dark. We're talking, well, they're in the mafia, right? So we're talking killing, stalking,
all the trigger warnings are coming out now, so
yeah.
If you've got any trauma, please do not read this book.
No. That's the other thing. When you're reading some of these books, make sure you're checking the trigger warnings, because I will say the trigger warnings are very good. Usually the authors are very descriptive. Some even do trigger warnings by chapter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, so I do love to dabble in dark romance. So they are absolutely walking red flags.
That is so funny to hear you say, because it seems so out of character for you.
I know. But they're like, seriously, my favorite one in the series, so I only put Nero there because he's the first person. Mm-hmm. My favorite one is Hans. And he fell in love with the girl across the street. And what he would do is, when she was gone to work or whatever, he like broke into her house because she had ADHD and was like, it was always a mess. She'd always forget to do certain things, and so he'd go break into her house, make sure her straightener was turned off.
Oh my god!
Like tidy up, like, and she had like didn't know this was happening, and yeah, he was my favorite. So Hans was my favorite of that series.
So next is Radiant Sin by Katie Robert.
Yeah, so Katie Robert does a really good job of doing plus size representation, but also black representation as well.
Oh,
like
okay.
A lot of her characters are different nationalities and stuff. So that is really cool. This particular series, she writes a lot about the gods. So it's like Zeus.
Okay. So Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's Greek mythology, yeah. So that one's really cool. I did just read one of hers that it's not on the list, but it's really good. It's called, I want to say it's Hooked, but it's not Hooked. Oh, I will put it in the description. It's about a plus size Tinkerbell.
Oh.
And that one's also very good.
Now that would interest you.
Yeah.
Next one is Heartstrings and Horizons by Willa Kay.
So this one is really interesting because she goes on Tinder, so she is very plus size. I believe this one she's like a size 22, 24, like she's plus size. Mm-hmm. And she decides, I'm going to go on this dating app, and she finds someone, she matches someone who's in the States. So she's from Canada, she's in Toronto, and he's some country place in the States, and they like fall in love. And it is so good. It deals with mental health as well. She struggles with depression really, really bad. And so it talks through like mental health and getting together, and that one I really highly recommend. Yeah.
So Catch Me When I Fall by Brittany Ann is a Catch Me duet book one. So it's a series.
This one's interesting. This one, her husband was really bad. Her father was like a big mafia guy or whatever, he was a corrupt politician. Mm-hmm. And her husband, she walked in on her husband. He was like brutally murdered, I'll put it that way, and in the bathtub. So she walks in and sees this, gets put into a mental health hospital for a year. And so the book starts with her escaping that. And so she has friends that are dark cowboys, and they hire this guy to like, what's the dog? No. Bounty. He hires a bounty hunter. They hire a bounty to find her because she escapes the hospital and she runs off. Anyway, so the bounty hunter finds her and they fall in love. But there's like a lot of twists and turns, and like there's a lot of action in this one.
That one sounds like a good one.
Yeah.
Next one is Make Me by Summer O'Toole.
Yeah, so there's
Ooh, this is the Family Crime Syndicate.
Yeah, so these are mafia ones as well. These ones, please for the love of everything that is good, read the trigger warnings on this series. The first 2 books are plus-size characters, but it is very, very, very dark.
Note to self, I won't be reading any of these books.
There is a lot of kink play. I'm trying to like not... So there's a lot of kinky stuff that goes on, a lot of things that they dabble in. Again, they're mafia, so there's just generalized
like big parties
killing.
and...
No, not that stuff. More like choking.
Oh, okay.
You know, little, it's like spanking, but like spanking.
Okay.
You know, not like a tap on the bum.
Oh, yeah.
You know, submissive, dom, that sort of thing. Yeah.
All right. Next, we're gonna move on. Mile High by Liz Tomford. Tomford.
Yeah. Okay, so this one
I can guess.
is a hockey one.
The fat girl gets stuck in the airplane bathroom, and they have to call the paramedics to get her out.
She actually, so she's a flight attendant on their private charter. So that's how this one made me cry, because what they call like the break, because there's always the standard of a book is like they have their story, they connect, they get together, whatever, and then there's usually some sort of like obstacle or breakup, and then whatever, happy ever after. If you're reading a book that I'm suggesting, it's gonna have a happy ever after. But their breakup scene, the way the author wrote this was so good. Like I cried. Like it was the way she wrote the emotion in it. Mm-hmm. You could feel that it was heavy. Really? It was so good. She also is black. So she's black and plus size.
Okay.
Yeah.
And whoops, last
is Ghost.
Ghost. And Ghost is by
this one.
Kat Blackthorne.
This one's a Halloween one.
I was going to say, The Halloween Boys is book 1, and whoa. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So this one is basically like, is it the 4 hens? No.
Henchmen?
Kind of like that vibe, I think is what they call. She refers a couple of times. So there's 4, okay, so there's Kat, or there's the girl, I can't remember her name, the main character. She is size 22-24, comes from substantial trauma, and they're in this like kind of magical Halloween town.
By the looks of this guy, she'd be in trauma.
Well, so he's actually a therapist. But he's actually a demon. So this is fantasy.
Oh my.
So basically there's like a archdemon is what they call them. A vampire, a werewolf, and then the devil himself. Mm-hmm. And so every book, there's 4 books, and every book kind of tells their love story with this girl. So you might be asking, oh, is there a break? Like, does she like date around? No. So basically what it is it's her and her 4 guys.
Oh. All right.
So that one also, if you're interested in that one, I actually really recommend it. It's really good. It's well written. She's very she's plus size, she's curvy, she's luscious, she's gorgeous. All 4 men absolutely worship her. There's lots of drama. There's lots of moments.
This is the book I'm getting.
But the spice is spicing because
4 chilies.
Well, there's 4 men in a lot of scenes, so
hence the 4 chilies. I just wasn't expecting them all at once.
So there is a lot of spice in that one. But yeah, so what I'll do is when Richard because he's gonna edit it tonight, I'm gonna tell him,
he can pop the book.
Well, I'm gonna tell him to either listen to it and put it. Actually, instead of putting it all as we talk about it, I wonder if he should do like at the end
a master list.
A master list.
And then if you're interested, you could just take a screenshot.
Yep. And as I said, I've read over 120 books. So if you're like, oh, I want something with more, if I want to really like look at more hockey, or I want, so there's like, sometimes I read like Why Choose, which is what the last book is, which is that there's multiple men that really like her and she doesn't need to choose. So there's stuff like that. There's stuff like that. If there's a certain type of vibe that you want and you want to reach out or comment below, I'm more than happy to offer suggestions.
Sex Therapy by Megan.
Thank you. So I hope that was a little bit lighter and fluffier.
Oh yeah, the henchmen. Yeah. Mafia.
Choking.
Trauma warnings. Yeah. Trigger warnings. You'll need trauma therapy if you read any of these books.
We'd love to know if you read and what you like to read.
What do people... I know a lot of people follow the trends of every month? Yeah, that they come out with New York Times and all those different places comes out with lists of the number one books in all the different categories. So I know a lot of people follow that. I myself, when I decide to read, is historical fiction or even nonfiction. I like to read a lot of things about the slave era, and a lot of those books are really interesting to me. It's been really eye-opening. Like, one of the books that sticks in my mind is the Book of Negroes, where I was always of the mindset living in Canada that we weren't slave people. But we really are, and it's our history has not been told correctly.
No.
To us in school. We have been fooled.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There's no mention of any of the things that really happened here. In a lot of cases, same as the indigenous population, and there's a lot of things I could talk about. But Book of Negroes is one of the, I think, the most eye-opening books.
So you'd recommend it?
Yeah.
I should also mention that I read on my phone through the Kindle app, and all the books that were mentioned are Kindle Unlimited. So I pay $10 a month to Amazon, and all those books are free. The 120 books. Oh, and then I have Libby, which is if you have a library card. Libby. And now I'm not sure if any of these books are available at the library, but I'm sure some of them. Would be. Yeah. Libby has access to all the libraries all across Nova Scotia. So. And I also use Libby for some of the stuff too. So it's a great app.
Yeah, because it's free. Yeah. So all you need is a library card, and you can sign up.
And you can do both audio.
Yes.
Books and regular
books.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another idea. But is there anything else you wanted to add?
Mm-mm. I'm glad that you're reading again, though, because reading. And I know that's a lot of us, you and I both included, spend a lot of time, our spare time, unfortunately, or we did, spend a lot of time scrolling and looking at things that way and looking at things online or watching TV or whatever. Yeah. And reading is just a good escape from that. And it's a really good self-care thing. Yeah. Because it can get your mind onto, out of whatever mode it's in and into something more fun or sexy or whatever you want to, whatever your mode is that you want to be in.
Yeah, and I would say, for someone who has experienced some sort of trauma, to read, and I mean, the spiciness is fun, and a lot of people like to talk about it in a light terms, but for someone who has experienced real trauma and sex might be difficult for them, I feel that some of these books, especially if you're able to see yourself in them, allows you to explore your sexuality and what you enjoy and what you don't enjoy in the safety of your mind before experiencing it with a partner or experimenting with it with yourself. It's a way to kind of normalize sex. It's a way to experience it without it being as triggering and kind of explore different things that you might otherwise not have. So I do want to add that piece in, in all seriousness. Yeah. It is a good way to, and just like you said with your books that have less fiction, like that aren't fiction, that teach us about real world things. Again, that's a safe way to learn. I like a story,
a real story about things that happened back in the day.
It's a safe way to learn about the world and about yourself. So
yeah.
All right, with that being said, have a wonderful week. We'll see you next Friday. Week. All right? Mwah!
Standing proud and tall, our voice is strong, our stories to be heard, challenging the stereotypes, flipping the world, the chronicles of